Greetings and welcome to the first in a series of videos for a campaign on the submarine simulator Cold Waters, done by Killerfish Games. Very good game in my opinion. I am your host. The channel says Tigerhawk30, but I may be known to some of you if you play World of Warships as Chris Wally. Which that name will be transferred over to, as you see, to Commander Wally Christopher. Completely original name, in command of the USS La Jolla, the 6088 class attack boat, effective immediately. You're one of the few pixelated bubbleheads that we kind of found halfway qualified to pilot this thing. So go out into this upcoming war, kill ships, and in the meantime, did we also tell you in Star Trek fashion you're the only ship in the quadrant? Okay, so yeah, go get them, and God help us all. So in this world news cycle, this leads up to the tensions starting from when Reagan was elected. Even though the date on these is 1984, Reagan actually took office on January 20th, 1981. Kind of a little off there, but you know, this is a game. We're not dealing with reality. We are, but we aren't. So what I like to think of this as kind of a alternate reality of sorts. The events leading up to this actually did happen up to and including the Soviets downloading of the Korean Airlines 007, claiming and thinking erroneously that it was a spy plane. But that was just one in a series of events to where tensions ran really, really high between the U.S. and the USSR. Here we see the Pershing missiles deployed, and this seems to be running really quickly in just November 1984 alone, which, if this all happened basically on the same day, then I could certainly see why a war would happen. Again, kind of parallel universe. Thinking that the nuclear drill was real, that would be very, very bad. We're very lucky that in the real world, the Soviet officer, Colonel Stanislav Petrov, in kind of a Soviet version of the movie War Games, their computers thought that we were actually launching a first strike nuclear attack on them, and he said, nah, that's not true. We're listening to a machine. Let's do the world a favor and not act like one. He actually did that. Did the whole world a favor. Thank you very much, Colonel. We all appreciate that. So let's go into our first mission, which is to intercept a Wolfpack of cruise missile submarines. And in this game, we pretty much found that Wolfpack can indicate anywhere between 1 and about 4 or 5. So we're not entirely sure how many we're going up against here. But at least we're certain to run into one. So anyway, we've got our weapons fully stocked right there at the outset. And let's sail north along the North Atlantic and take up station at the Denmark Strait, where intel says that these cruise missiles are going to try to transit. So, okay, well, we'll just kind of sit here and hope that the GI UK line actually works. That was the GI UK line, Greenland, Iceland, UK. It's a line of sonar microphones that were embedded on the ocean floor to detect Soviet submarines if they tried to break out into the North Atlantic and point south and try to intercept and sink convoys for men, material, supplies that were bound for Europe in case World War III over there ever did break out. So, anyway, oh, you sneaky little buggers. The only reason I even knew you were there was that a P3 picked you up on the way over, so let's just go up, intercept. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we have a sonar contact bearing 247. We'll designate that Sierra 1 straight away. Load the torpedo tubes, all 4 of them with torpedoes. And here we go. Now the first thing I like to do is rig the ship for ultra quiet, and that pretty much immediately, as much as possible anyway, takes down any and all noise that radiates out from your submarine. I'm sure anybody can figure this out, but the more silent your submarine is, the better chance you have for 1, surviving, and 2, sneaking up on your target and killing him.
Designated
Okay, so we've already got 2 contacts. Sierra 1 and Sierra 2, both bearing. One is 247, the other is 274. Let's not try to not get them mixed up. Okay, so we're going through on the sonar and trying to classify. We've already got one as the Charlie 2, which is going to be my primary target, or at least one of my primary targets if they were more than the 2 that I can detect out here. The other one is the Charlie 2 Escort, a Victor 2. Now, at least the Victor 2 as an attack sub is a little bit behind where the 6088 is concerned. And from the looks of it, he's a little bit distant. And from the looks of it, we've got the Charlie a lot closer than that. Already, even though the solution's only 42%, already the sonar team thinks that he's only about 4,700 yards out. So what I'm going to do here is go south. I'm going to give my towed array a chance to pick him up and try to firm up that solution. See if we can't get that to 95%, that being the best solution that we can possibly get. And that'll give us course, speed, and pretty much an exact distance. It's still under 60% right now, so we only have a speed at this point, but it's above 50%, so we have the speed at least. All right, now we're at 60% solution, so that the course comes in. So at least at this point, range is pretty decent. We've got firm speed of where he's at, and now we've got what his course is set at. So pretty much going parallel on that point, and going over and looking at the sonar signatures. While he doesn't have me on passive, if for some reason he decides to fire up his active, he has got me dead to rights. So I just have to hope that he doesn't have me on active in any way, shape, or form and fire it up. For the most part, as a rule, submarines don't do active, and that's because if you fire off your active sonar, you basically give away your position, or at least your general direction, if somebody is distant enough. So, yeah, again, that goes on the doctrine of the more silent, the better. Okay, and there's our 95%. Now we've got him firmly locked in. Course 010, speed of 10 knots, and range of 5,200 yards. So we're just going to kind of sneak around and see if maybe we can't get just right behind him and get into his baffles. Now, you'll know you're in his baffles when the contact over there, kind of like the Victor 2 is now showing up. The contact for the active and the passive both will show up as -50. That will basically mean that there is absolutely no way possible that the target that you're looking at that point has any chance of detecting you. Even if he fires off his active sonar, there is no way he's going to get a return ping off you. It's not possible, and the -50 is also just not possible. The lower your number, obviously, the better chance you have to avoid detection. But the -50 is going to be your absolutely best bet for avoiding said detection. That's going to be your optimum as far as your sneakability, as it were, and especially getting behind the submarine, getting into his baffles, that's going to be your optimum firing angle. Get right behind him, he won't even know you're there, and he'll have very, very minimal time in order to react to your torpedo shot. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do to what looks like my primary target right now, the Charlie 2, which is a guided missile nuclear submarine. Now, this is something that I believe the Soviets pretty much pioneered, this type of submarine. And their main missions would be, if they can break out into the North Atlantic and intercept those convoys in the aforementioned scenario where there would be any kind of outbreak of World War III, their primary mission would be to attack the convoys, get in there, and use their anti-ship guided missiles as much as possible and as close as possible in order to give those convoys and their escorts next to zero amount of reaction time and sink them very, very quickly. torpedo shots will give escorts time to say, oh, there's an inbound torpedo. It came from here. I have a chance to fire off, in the Navy's case, the ASROC, the anti-submarine rocket, and drop a torpedo pretty much right on their head. But firing off guided missiles gives that kind of thing pretty much a nil chance. You're not going to go into a counter-attacking mode of a submarine. Instead, what you're going to do is go into immediate, I got to shoot these anti-ship missiles down mode. So you are purely defensive instead of reactive offensive. Anyway, getting back to the Charlie over here. So we're slowly trying to get back into his baffles. Very slowly, very slowly.
Passing 400
and I have a very slight down bubble on the ballast of a -5. So I'm just kind of slowly moving down. And what I'm trying to do with that case is that when I eventually do fire off a torpedo, I will be able to dodge any kind of return fire as much as possible. You can go plus and minus 30 degrees on both the planes and the ballast. You can do one or the other, any way it goes. But personally, when I'm in kind of a hunting mode like this, I like to use just the ballast. That way you still keep your submarine level, and when you fire off a torpedo, you have a better chance of getting it off without a hitch. And your fire control wire, which allows you to steer the torpedo manually, it'll give you a better chance to not lose that wire. Now, when you fire off a torpedo, there's always a chance that your wire might break. So leaving your submarine as level as possible and as straight as possible when you're doing this gives you an optimal way to not have that wire break. So anyway, we've got the 50-50. We're in his baffles.
fire control.
And damn it, I lost the wire. Like I said, even if you're straight on, there is always that chance that the wire is going to break. In this case, I did everything that I thought was good. It just not quite so much. It broke anyway. It happens. Okay, so we've got the Victor 2 that came back up again. But, okay, he's only a 10% solution. We don't even know his distance. Okay, they estimate his distance at 22,000 yards. He's way off, and for an escort, he's kind of doing a crappy job. He's either just not paying a lot of attention, or he's actually trying to act kind of an advanced screen for the Charlie 2, which, you know, with the Charlie 2 bearing is 309 now, yeah, it may be kind of the thing to where, okay, he's acting as a screener in case I would be coming from their direct forward. He's got a better chance to intercept me, engage me, and then the Charlie would be able to run and then try to hide from me. But that wasn't the case. Fortunately, the Charlie, he maneuvered a little bit. He probably tried to pick me up, but he didn't until now. And even then, he wasn't picking me up. My torpedo went active on its own. He heard the torpedo, dropped a noisemaker, and that's your pretty much definitive indicator that a guy has heard you. Even if you shoot in his baffles, he still has a decent chance to pick you up, probably no less than about 2,000 yards away from his boat. A torpedo has a very, very high-pitched, high-frequency engine running to it, and even the dumbest sonar operator is going to be able to hear him if it gets close enough. Between that and from what I've heard, what I've read, you can also hear it when it approaches you more right through the hull. So that's got to be a scary proposition. Speaking of scary propositions, there goes the Charlie 2. That was, even though I lost the wire, that was, if I do say so myself, was kind of a perfect attack. And I've got to say, if you're old enough to remember the old StarKist commercials, sorry, Charlie. Okay, so let's go over to the Victor 2.
Passing 700 feet.
Passing 700 feet now. I've leveled off. See if I can't maybe bag me a Victor 2 while I'm out here. Sonar thinks that they're 22,000 yards out, but the solution kind of sucks right now, and it's kind of going down, very likely because of the breakup noises of the Charlie 2 that I just sunk. So, you know, we're going to have to get past that here in a little bit. Now, I've done some time compression a little bit, and you can do that by hitting the F9 key to turn it on and then off. And I'm just trying to give the sonar team time to firm up a solution a little bit. They're still thinking he's quite a ways out there, but by looking at the contact information, if he were to send me an active sonar ping, he would be able to pick me up if weakly. So I'm thinking he's probably a lot closer than 17.8, and with that older sonar set, yeah, he's very likely closer than that. Okay, well, we're over 51% solution, so we've got a speed of at least on him for 8 knots. He's trying to pick me up, but he's not having much success. So we'll just see what works. Anyway, ballast for 10 more, kind of raising up to his level a little bit, see if I can't firm that solution up just a little bit better. Time compression's on again. Then again, if I paid attention to his depth, then okay. So anyway, I'm above him at this point, but it's also good to not be at his level. Okay, now I am in his baffles. I still don't know what his course is. Well, now I know what his course is, and I'm running pretty much directly behind him. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was far off to where he didn't hear his buddy get sunk. And what I did there is hitting the escape button, and basically I'm throwing in a little bit of a cheat to see what his distance is. If you see the red to where anything is redded out, with the exception of flooding, that means that something is threatening you within 15,000 yards. So if you have something in the red, even if you don't have a solution on them, you could probably even use that as kind of a hack. And that's what I do a lot, is that hit that escape button. Hey, it's red. Something's within 15,000 yards of me, whether it be a boat, a weapon, whatnot. Okay, so I'm in his baffles completely, 50-50. I've actually done an off-angle torpedo shot, but this time I'm holding the control wire. So I don't know. Maybe this one was a lot sturdier in terms of construction. Maybe the last one was just kind of made to subpar standards, or maybe it was just a random number generator. The first time they ran it said, screw you, we're going to cut the wire directly. You're going to lose it. You can't do nothing about it. Ha ha. This time, however, it seems to be in my favor. Usually your chances of a wire break will be a lot worse if you fire like 45 degrees or more off of the bow. But in this case, it didn't seem to really be that bad. Still have the torpedo basically directly going in his back. Again, sorry, Charlie. Again, there's the Victor 2. You can see his creep motors there to each side of his main prop. And accelerating time a little bit and trying to at least knock down the recording time for you guys to have to wait for that thing to get there. Okay, he's finally heard it. So he's launching his return shots down the line of bearing to where my torpedo is. Now the way I've launched it and the distance that I launched it at, there is pretty much next to no chance whatsoever that his torpedo is going to acquire me, much less come in at me. Now the torpedo carried by the Victor 2 is the Set 65M, which really is kind of a subpar torpedo as far as this environment goes. Versus your Mark 48, which is top of the line and really is something that I believe the U.S. Navy still uses the Mark 48, only the Mark 48 ADCAP, advanced capability. Versus that, it's a subpar weapon. And boom. Good night, Victor. We're sorry to see you go. Not really. Okay, so 2 down. Reloading my torpedo. And let's go into torpedo evasion, but okay, well, we have nobody within 15,000 yards. So, let's leave combat and see what happened. Okay, well, we only had these two guys. So the Wolfpack in this case was apparently an alpha wolf and a beta wolf, and that was it. I accomplished my mission. Sink land and those 4 stars over in Norfolk. Great job. Thanks, Admiral. I appreciate you, I guess. I'll pass along the simply just great job to my crew, and we'll wait for further instructions. But convoys are safe for now, and it's a good mission, and it's a quick mission. Anyway, already this is the end of the first one. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have more conversation to throw at you guys later on down the line. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like it. Have a great one, and we'll see you for round 2.